And like every religion, whether it be paganism or witchcraft or Christianity, Muslim traditions, any religion is going to have structures. So when you're using Sanse or you're working in the Sanse tradition for personal development, much of what you're doing is very much centered around yourself. So all you really need to understand is, who is your head mystery? Are you initiated? And do you have the proper education to understand all the ways to continue to be clean and cleansed going forward? In our tradition and our religion, just like every religion, we have a genesis story. We have our own understanding of how the universe is constructed. We have holidays, just like every tradition, and those holidays are very important because they reach into connecting to the genesis and the bigger picture of how we view the creation of existence. They also are practical times to, do what every person does in any tradition or any religion, which is continuously come back to, am I practicing charity? Am I being a good person? Am I in a stage of contemplation? Am I a good parent? Am I leading a good life? Am I on the right track? So on and so forth. Our religion dates back prior to any religion that exists and has a consistent way of viewing things, and the holidays are consistent with the changing of the seasons. Our religion is very much a shamanic religion, which is very different than all other religions. All religions are considered to be spiritual, but there are religions that existed prior to spiritual religions. A spiritual religion means that it's something that is put into texts, and it's a book, and it's a book of knowledge that's handed down. There's other religions that are old, they don't exist anymore anywhere in the world. These religions that have blossomed within the last, say, 50 years, like Wicca, okay, are trying to be like the old religions and base their traditions off of research that comes from books. Who writes the books is people who look at broken pieces of pottery and kind of assume what it might have meant and assume what it might have been for, right? Nobody knows. In Sanse, Sanse is not a spiritual religion, it's what's called a mystical religion. It's a religion of the mystic. The congregation is filled with the people that are inside the temple, and those people are there to learn how to apply the mystic teachings, which are very vast, apply them to day-to-day life, personal development, personal growth, things that you do in your day-to-day life. And you sit at your altar and you light a candle. You might know some stuff about Sanse, but really you're focused on your nucleus, right? The nucleus of your life. A high priest or a priestess, somebody who's inside the clergy, has the responsibility of worshiping, practicing, monitoring, and maintaining the tradition, the integrity of the tradition, of course the initiations, the teachings, the cleansing, the clearing, celebrating each one of the holidays and offering the holidays to people for people to come and to congregate, to come together, to be able to receive the celebration. Through the celebrations, there's various things that open up for you as an individual. As we carve out new avenues for Sanse to begin to continue to maintain its teaching. We carve out avenues for education. I think what's really important to remember is that most mystic traditions, when you become initiated, people leap over all the work that's to be done and think that they are going to become somebody who is a priest. That's not a path that's meant for many people, and it's not a path that can be maintained because you have to know each of the ceremonies for each of the lines that come down in the sacred way. It's a huge undertaking. So focusing on receiving the guidance of your godparent and allowing yourself to be sort of like cushioned in the nest, so to speak, of the tradition gives you an opportunity to take the mystic, shamanic, ancient knowledge, and lucky you, but Sanse Espiritismo comes from very old practices that predate the word Sanse. Very old practices that predate most spiritual, magical, and religions, and gives you really everything that you need to progress as a human, because we do know the sacred laws and how those laws run through us. So that's the structure. We have our own cosmology. We understand in our own way why it's important to celebrate certain things at certain times of the year. And then we know the thousands of names of the mysteries, their celebration dates, and what that means to the individual. As you're learning, don't try to understand all the mysteries. It's just not important. What's important is to understand the structures that apply to your personal growth and development. You're going to get more done faster that way. Holy Week is a very important time. There's major holidays that we have that we all celebrate together as Sansistas. And I will say this, too, is that it's becoming a little more well-known, Sanse, and really anything that we've seen anybody put out there about it is very hodgepodgey, kind of like a bunch of stuff shoved together. I don't even think these people really understand that there are lineages, that you have to be trained to initiate people. And then even when you're an initiator, you're in even stronger training brackets with more power and more responsibility. Sanse is not like Wicca or paganism or anything like this, where you can just glob together a bunch of different pieces of information and call it something. Our tradition is based on very old work, and because it developed in Puerto Rico and also in the Dominican Republic and was influenced by people who lived in Haiti and the Taino Indians, what you have is that the Sansistas became the place that could hold the secrets of these people, the Taino Indians, and also we call them Haitians now, but they were people coming in from Africa, where in time, the way that the world worked is that most of the truth and most of the lineages from both of these lines of people got either dirtied, convoluted, or just annihilated, right? Dirty, convoluted, or annihilated. So now what we have is sort of this secrets. We hold the secrets, and we hold secrets that date back very, very far. The treatments that you receive, they're not treatments that come out of nowhere. There's reasons why we do them. And when we say false guides, and when we say demonic forces, we're not talking about the Christian concept of demonic forces. We're talking about the ancient forces that are in the world and in nature and have been a part of this world since the beginning of time, and people have been feeding them or entrapped by them since the beginning of time. So when you veer off on your own and you go off on your own direction and your arrogance guides you the wrong way, what you end up with is deep scarring in your being and deep scarring to other people. Because demons are pervasive and they exist on the horizon of time. They exist on the horizon of time. They cannot be seen. They're like on the horizon. They're huge. The priest has to be given the right by the master in order to be somebody who is pure enough to help untangle you from that energy. It's a huge piece of our work. Yes, God made you perfect. You came into this world perfect. But God also gave you life. And in life, things get dirtied. Holy Week is a wonderful time because all of your protections, all that we do for you, that you take for granted, all of the protections from your mysteries, all of the magic you received. By the way, that's another job of the priest. Besides everything else of the religion, we provide magic and healing for people as a job, as a way to help people every day. Last night I was up until like 3 in the morning doing work for people because of the circumstances at hand. Beautiful thing. Not so beautiful when you have it handed to you on a silver platter and in a week it disappears. Disappears slowly throughout the week so that you get to feel and experience what it's like for everyone else all of the time who doesn't have access to having a connection with their mysteries, who doesn't have access to being in unison with the spirits, and who doesn't have a sacred shaman helping to guide them in the darkness of life. You don't remember what life was like for you before your initiation. No matter who you are, just assume you've become entitled. And Holy Week will be a wonderful time for you to see, because there's not going to be anything left with you except for that. We love Holy Week for this purpose. And then for us as priests, we get to take a little bit of time for ourselves to kind of rekindle our energies, recuperate our energies, do our personal work, our spiritual cleanses, so that we are renewed when the spirits are renewed. Everything that has been provided to you comes back after Holy Week, and then we begin our teachings again.